The movie begins with Ray driving home with his wife Joanne and their daughter Perry after a bad Thanksgiving at his wife's parents'. They argue about their relationship, with Joanne saying they've been broken for a long time. Ray tries to smooth things over and suggests they have their own Thanksgiving with pizza. Just the three of them, but she brushes it off. The conversation goes nowhere, so he turns his attention to Perry and sings with her to keep her distracted. They pull into a gas station when Perry needs to use the restroom. Ray heads inside to grab a coffee for himself, a Coke for his wife, batteries for Perry's toy, and also adds 2 small bottles of whiskey to the counter. The cashier tells him it's cash only. He doesn't have enough for everything. He hesitates, forced to choose between the batteries his daughter needs and the alcohol he's trying not to want. Back in the car, it's clear Ray chose the alcohol. But they can't leave because Perry can't find her compact mirror, so Joan goes back to the restroom to look for it. Ray moves to the back seat to search, and Perry steps out of the car, so he has space. While Ray is occupied, Perry drifts toward a nearby construction site after noticing a balloon caught in a tree. A stray dog approaches her, causing her to freeze and slowly back away. She calls for Ray, but continues stepping backward, getting closer to an exposed pit. By the time Ray comes around the car, the dog is still focused on her, and she is already near the edge. He shouts at the dog to move, but it doesn't react. He throws a rock to scare it off, but Perry loses her footing and falls into the pit. Ray immediately jumps in after her and hits his head on the way down. When he regains consciousness, he is disoriented. Joanne is already inside the pit, checking on Perry and shouting at him. She hits him repeatedly, trying to get a reaction, while he remains barely responsive. In that state, he pushes her aside. After a moment, Ray comes around. Joanne is holding Perry, who says her arm hurts, but there are no visible injuries. Ray picks her up and decides to drive to a nearby hospital they passed earlier. At the hospital, Joanne carries Perry inside while Ray goes to check them in. He tries to explain that his daughter is hurt, but the waiting room is full and the receptionist tells him to wait his turn. Joanne gets frustrated and tells him to do something. Ray goes back to the desk and asks again to be seen sooner, but is told to fill out the paperwork and wait. While at the desk, Ray overhears a conversation about a patient with B-positive blood. Then he returns to his wife and daughter, who has now fallen asleep. His wife has calmed down. She hands Ray Perry's scarf because it's too warm in the waiting area, apologizes for snapping at him, and thanks him for getting them there quickly. She mentions that her head is hurting. Ray says it's probably dehydration and goes to get her a drink from the vending machine. While he's away, he notices patients being rushed in and a doctor handling a case involving organ donation that catches his attention. Eventually, Ray's name is called. During the admissions process, he is asked a series of questions about his job, Perry's medical history, and any allergies, with Joanne answering alongside him. The receptionist notes that his insurance lists a previous dependent. Ray explains that it was his first wife, who died 8 years earlier. Then they're asked if they would agree to place Perry on the organ donor register. Joanne immediately refuses. The receptionist asks about blood types, but they don't provide an answer. She then asks if everything is safe at home, which irritates Ray, who insists this was just an accident at a construction site. As she finishes the paperwork, the receptionist suddenly says that the hospital does not accept his type of insurance. Ray tells her it doesn't matter and that he will pay however needed. She steps away to check with another staff member while Ray watches them. When she returns, she tells him everything is fine and they can proceed with the admission. A nurse arrives to take Perry, and as she is wheeled away, Ray overhears the receptionist on the phone saying they have another case, a 6-year-old girl with an unknown blood type. Perry is examined by Dr. Berthram, who determines that her arm is likely broken but wants to run a CAT scan to rule out a head injury. Joanne goes with Perry, and Ray watches as they enter the elevator and are taken down to the lower level for the scan. He stays behind in the waiting area and eventually falls asleep. When he wakes up hours later, he is disoriented. He goes to the restroom to wash his face and notices a bandage on his forehead. He returns to the desk and asks about his wife and daughter, but the staff has changed shifts. The receptionist tells him she has no information about them and suggests he wait. Ray asks for Dr. Berthram, but is told he has already left. She says she will pass along a message to the doctor now handling the case. Ray goes back to the waiting area. After waiting for some time, Ray goes back to the desk and asks again about his wife and daughter. This time, the receptionist checks the system but finds no record of them. Ray becomes anxious and insists she check again. She suggests they might be listed under his insurance, but Ray explains that they were admitted without insurance and that he was told he could pay in cash. The receptionist says they don't do that. He asks about the nurse and the orderly who were with them earlier, but he is told the staff has changed and they have already gone home. Ray asks her to call down to the CAT scan area to check. She hesitates, then agrees and makes the call, but is told that the only patient brought in for a scan was a 62-year-old woman. She tells Ray that his family is not there and asks him to leave. Instead, he pushes past into the emergency area. The receptionist calls security as he heads back to the examination rooms where Perry was seen earlier. Ray is stopped by security and another doctor steps in to ask what is going on. Ray explains that his wife and daughter are missing. The doctor checks the system and finds no record of any patient named Perry Monroe. At that point, Ray recognizes the nurse who first took Perry. She approaches and says she remembers him from her earlier shift. The nurse states that Ray came in alone and was treated for a head injury. Ray insists she is lying and demands to know what they have done to his family. As he becomes increasingly agitated, security restrains him. He is sedated and locked in a room. He immediately injects himself with adrenaline to counter the sedative, then forces his way out and escapes the hospital. Outside, he stops two police officers and tells them that the hospital is holding his wife and daughter. He explains what happened at the gas station and insists that something is wrong inside. The officers agree to go back with him to check. They return to the reception area and begin asking about Joanne and Perry. The security guard appears and dismisses Ray, saying he caused trouble earlier and was treated for a head injury. The officers ask to be taken to the last place Ray saw his family, which he identifies as Ward 9. They speak with a doctor there, who checks the system and confirms there is no record of Joanne or Perry. He also says he was not on duty at the time they were admitted. Ray insists they called Dr. Berthram, and the police have the staff contact him. The officers then ask to see the CAT scan area. The doctor tells them it is on the third floor, but Ray disagrees, saying he saw his wife and daughter being taken down, not up. The doctor takes this as further confusion. They go to the imaging room, where the doctor explains that the machine logs every use, including time and duration. He shows them that it was last used at 9 a.m., hours before Ray says Perry was brought in. According to the records, no scan was performed after that. Instead of calming him down, this convinces Ray even more that Perry was never taken there and must have been taken somewhere else inside the hospital. Dr. Berthram returns to the hospital and speaks with the police. He says he recognizes Ray from earlier that day. According to him, Ray came in alone, claimed he had been in a car accident, and was acting erratically. He recommended a CAT scan, but Ray refused and said he was waiting for his wife, Abby. Ray explains that Abby is his first wife, who died years ago. Then Ray accuses Dr. Berthram of using that information from his insurance to make him look unstable and cover up what they did to Joanne and Perry. To settle the situation, security suggests reviewing the surveillance footage. They check the cameras from earlier that day. The footage shows Ray entering the hospital alone. There is no sign of Joanne or Perry. The coverage is incomplete, with only partial angles and 30-second intervals, but nothing supports Ray's version of events. Ray insists the footage is not reliable, but the officers begin to doubt him. They question whether his wife and daughter were ever there. He then remembers the cashier at the gas station and tells them she can confirm they were together. As they prepare to leave, Ray notices Perry's scarf under the bed where she was examined earlier. He picks it up and shows it to the police. One of the officers unfolds it and finds blood on it. A psychiatrist is brought in to speak with Ray. She tells him she wants to help him figure out what happened to his family. They sit down in a separate room, and she explains that they located his admission file, but it only contains his information. There's no record of Perry. She asks him to go over what happened, but Ray repeats that Perry fell at the construction site. He continues to insist that the hospital is hiding his family. The psychiatrist asks why the hospital would do that, then shifts the conversation to his past. She asks about his first wife, Abby. Ray explains that she was killed in a car accident and it becomes clear he had been driving under the influence. Ray breaks down. The psychiatrist calms him and tells him she believes something happened to Joanne and Perry. She suggests they need to go back to the place where Perry fell. She then leaves the room and speaks with the police, telling them they should check the construction site, as there is a chance Joanne and Perry are still there. They go to the gas station and examine the construction site. Inside the pit, they find a large blood stain, which immediately shifts suspicion toward Ray. The psychiatrist stays with Ray and continues questioning him. She asks him again what happened before the fall. He says he was arguing with Joanne and that she was unhappy. He told Perry to stay still, but she kept moving back. He mentions the dog and says he threw a rock at it. The psychiatrist challenges this. She questions whether there was a dog at all. She tells him there may not have been an accident. Instead, she suggests that in his anger, he threw the rock and caused Perry to fall into the pit. When his wife arrived, he lashed out again. She explains that after what happened, Ray's mind could not process it. Having already lost his first wife, he could not accept losing his family again. So his mind created a different version of events to protect him from the reality of what he had done. Ray breaks down as she presses him to face it. She asks him directly where Joanne and Perry are and what he had done with them. A police officer moves to arrest Ray on suspicion of murder. As he begins to accept it, he suddenly notices the dog from the gas station and realizes it was real. This breaks the psychiatrist's version of events. He grabs a gun from one of the officers, takes the psychiatrist hostage, and forces his way out. He locks the police and the doctor inside the gas station and takes her hospital access card. He returns to the hospital, puts on a doctor's coat, and gets into the elevator. He tries to access the lowest level, but it requires a special key he doesn't have. As he's inside, the security guard enters. Ray pulls a gun on him and forces him to help. The guard claims he will take him to his family, but then tries to fight him for the gun. Ray overpowers and strangles him. He takes the guard's key and uses it. He reaches the lowest level and finds Perry in an operating room, about to have her organs removed. He forces his way inside and points a gun at the doctors. Joanne is there as well, heavily sedated. The staff try to stop him and attempt to inject him, but he fights them off. During the struggle, a gas pipe is damaged, triggering an explosion in the room. Ray pulls Perry off the table and drags his wife out with him. As they escape, he shoots one of the doctors. He manages to get both his wife and daughter back to the car. Inside, Joanne and Perry sit in the back seat, calm and smiling. Joanne tells him to drive, and Ray finally relaxes, believing he has saved them. As he drives away, the reflection in the rearview mirror reveals the truth. On the back seat lies an unconscious patient from the hospital that is badly injured. It is finally revealed that his family lost their lives in the pit. Perry was killed at the construction site in the fall. Joanne was killed there as well, after Ray pushed her onto a spike. Their bodies had been in the car the entire time. And the events of the hospital visit were the result of Ray's psyche trying to deny the reality of what really happened. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.